According to the Center for Community Progress, land banks are public entities with unique governmental powers created pursuant to state-enabling legislation that are solely focused on converting problem properties into productive use according to local community goals. In other words, land banks address properties that are not being addressed by the market, such as tax-foreclosed, derelict, and contaminated properties in brownfields that are posing significant barriers for redevelopment. In terms of brownfield redevelopment, land banks play roles that are specific to each community, usually as a mechanism to make assessments, remove barriers, and redevelop property in order to alleviate environmental concern and get it back on the market. After the acquisition of brownfields via tax foreclosure, ownership is transferred from the local government to the land bank with the release of liability. The first step towards creating a land bank is understanding your local legislation. If it exists in your region, it can serve as a guide. If your local government has land banks legislation, you should familiarize yourself and your fellow leaders with it. You should also research other cases in your area or other areas with similar legislation. And if it doesn't, you should lobby your local government to enact change. If your organization is already affiliated with the local government, you can establish a public land bank, either as a government entity or as an independent public entity. And if your organization is not affiliated with the government, you can always establish a nonprofit. These are typically comprised of community groups and leaders with shared interests and goals. Land banks can take any kind of property after it goes through the process of tax foreclosure. Some states have a system where the site is auctioned off first. If it's not sold at auction, it goes to the land bank for the statutory minimum bid. In some other states, land banks have been given special superbid powers to acquire tax-delinquent properties prior to them being auctioned off to ensure the community's needs are met, such as the need for affordable housing or open space. Land banks can also receive properties through voluntary donations from private owners or via transfers from municipal governments. In most cases, land banks maintain and hold the property tax-free. Once land is in a land bank, it can be sold to public or private entities so long as the property title is clear. The land can also be acquired by local government for use in public works. Land banks can also hold on to adjacent properties for larger community projects. Land banks thrive when supported by recurring funding sources. Such funding enables land banks to focus on long-term goals and innovative strategies rather than constantly seeking new sources. Some models allow local governments to allocate a portion of delinquent property taxes towards land banks, resulting in stable annual revenue. Since land banks are usually not self-sufficient, local governments must recognize their value and commit to providing ongoing support by allocating dedicated funds. While tax recapture and sales proceeds are limited, consistent investment ensures stable operation and meaningful progress in distressed neighborhoods. Engaging a diverse range of partners is vital. Collaborations with affordable housing developers, community organizations, and foundations offer not only additional resources but also essential expertise. Foundations can contribute upfront capital or program-related investments to support land bank initiatives. Land banks must also adopt an entrepreneurial approach, actively seeking grants and other limited funding opportunities. Specific programs and legal settlements provide significant resources for targeted activities. Congratulations, you're now running a successful land bank. But how does any of this relate to brownfields redevelopment and community revitalization? Brownfields and other long vacant properties cause harm. Vacant properties are often a blight or burden on underserved communities, especially when there is a lack of power or responsibility taken for these properties. A land bank enables the community to take better control over the vacant or foreclosed properties that lay idle and ensure they can be used to benefit the community.